After 5 years together, I accidentally heard my girlfriend tell her friends I was just a time-pass boyfriend, and that the man she really wanted to marry wasn't me. 6 months later, her own cousin was the one down on one knee. But not for her. For 5 years, I thought I was building a life. Not just dating, not just seeing where things go. I mean, real, solid, grown man building. Same apartment for 3 years. Shared bills. Shared grocery list taped to the fridge. Her family treated me like I was already locked in. Her mom used to joke that she was just waiting for me to make it official already, and I wanted to dot her name was Ryan. Yeah. Flip the stereotype. She was Ryan and I was the one always steady, always loyal, always thinking long term. I wasn't flashy, I wasn't dramatic, I was dependable. I thought that was what love needed. We had one shared account just for rent and utilities. I handled the internet, the car payments, and half the groceries. We had routines. Sunday cleaning. Movie nights. Grocery runs. Couple friends who treated us like the stable pair in the group. I talked about marriage seriously. Not in fantasy ways, but in real adult ways. Budgets, timelines, locations, kids someday. She'd smile, hold my hand, and say, "When we do it, I want it to be perfect." She said she wanted me to save for a ring. She said I deserved to do it right. I believed her. Everything cracked the night her cousin Ethan came back from working overseas. There was a big reunion planned. I was supposed to go, but work called me in last minute for an emergency client situation. I remember apologizing to her, and she said it was fine. Just guys catching up anyway. She didn't come home until 4 in the morning. Next day, Ethan added me on social media. Started liking posts, sending dumb memes, commenting jokes. Ryan told me he's like that. With everyone, social guy. I thought nothing of it. If anything, I was glad he wanted to know me. 2 weeks later, we went to a barbecue at her friend Todd's house. That's the day my real life broke. I went inside to grab more drinks from the kitchen. The back window was open. The guys were outside, on the patio, laughing, beer bottles clinking. I wasn't eavesdropping, I just heard my name. Todd laughed and said, "So when are you finally marrying him?" 5 years, man. Ryan laughed, actual laughed. She said, "Marriage is for the guy you build a real future with, not someone that's just fun." I froze. Someone asked what she meant. She said, "Some guys you date, some guys you marry." Then she said the sentence that ended everything inside me. I already met the one I'd marry in college, my ex. The one that got away. She said she checked his social media every day. Said when he was ready to settle down, she'd choose him. Said I was convenient, said I was fun, said I was good company, but not the one. They laughed about me, hinting wedding venues. They joked that she was just running out the clock. I stood there holding cold beer bottles while 5 years of my life melted into nothing. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I walked outside and handed out drinks like nothing happened. I sat beside her. She put her arm around me. And that's when the planning started. I didn't confront her. I didn't beg. I didn't fight. I detached. I stopped doing all the things she'd gotten used to. No more reminders about her mom's birthday. No more laundry. No more packing lunches. No more emotional labor. And I started responding to Ethan. We talked. Actually talked. He remembered things, asked about my work. Congratulated my promotion, which she hadn't even noticed. He asked me for coffee. I said yes. We talked for 3 hours. He said he admired how I handled Ryan's family, especially her difficult sister. Said I had patience he respected. It hit me so hard I almost cried in front of him. We started meeting weekly. Then dinners. Then real conversations. Then he said something that flipped everything. "I hate how she talks about you." He said she treated me like a temporary toy. He said he'd noticed from the first family dinner when I helped their grandmother with her walker. He said he had feelings. I went home that night and told Ryan I knew everything. She went white, said it was guy talk, said she didn't mean it. So I tested her. I said, "Propose to me right now." She said she wasn't ready. After 5 years, she wasn't ready. That night, I packed my bags. Ethan helped me move, and then everything changed. The funny thing about heartbreak is that it doesn't explode. It goes silent, like a building collapsing inward instead of outward. After I packed my bags and walked out of that apartment, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt empty. Ethan helped me move my boxes into a tiny studio apartment I found last minute. He didn't even touch me in that moment. No awkward tension. No pressure. He just lifted boxes and said things like, "Tell me where to put this." That meant more to me than he probably realized. That first night alone, I sat on the floor with my back against the wall and stared at the ceiling. 5 years, half a decade, suddenly gone. Not because of cheating, not because of some big dramatic fight, but because I overheard the truth. The next morning, she started calling, texting, leaving voicemals, crying, promising she didn't mean it like that. I blocked her, not out of anger, out of self-respect, and then something weird happened. She stopped existing in my daily life, and I started noticing how quiet it was. Peaceful, no walking on eggshells. No trying to impress someone who already decided I wasn't enough. Ethan started checking in on me. Not constantly, not in a weird way, just natural. "How's the apartment? Did you sleep okay?" One night he brought me food because he said, "You probably forgot to eat again." He wasn't trying to replace anyone. He was just there. 2 weeks later, she found out we talked. She lost her mind. I heard about it through mutual friends. She told people I was cheating, told people Ethan was stealing me. Acting like she owned me even after calling me temporary, she started messaging me from fake accounts, calling from blocked numbers. I ignored everything. Then came the family dinner. Disaster. We had both been invited. I almost didn't go, but Ethan told me, "You shouldn't disappear to make her comfortable." So I went, and when she saw us sitting together, it was like a bomb went off. Her chair scraped. Glass tipped over. She started yelling, told everyone I betrayed her. Told everyone Ethan destroyed the family. I sat there shaking on the inside but didn't speak. Ethan did. He stood up calmly. Not aggressive. Not loud. Just firm. He said the truth. That I broke up with her before anything happened. That nothing started until everything was finished. Then her sister, the one who hated me for years, stood up. And defended me. That moment changed something in me. Her mother pulled me into the kitchen and finally asked the truth. I told her everything. The barbecue, the words, the humiliation. I watched her face break. She hugged me. She said, "I thought you were going to marry her." She said she felt sick knowing I'd been used. I walked back out there lighter, validated. Not crazy, not dramatic. That week after, hell. She sent me dozens of messages, some begging, some insulting, some threatening. I saved screenshots. Then blocked her everywhere. She started posting vague attacks online. Snakes, betrayal, fake people. Ethan didn't even look. He told me, "She wants attention. Don't give her oxygen." That man. He changed how I see strength. My friend Mila helped me unpack. She asked if it was too fast to move on. I told her I left the relationship the day I heard the truth. I just didn't physically leave until later. She admitted she never liked my ex. Said she always saw how I was treated. Said Ethan felt real. One night, Ethan surprised me. Took me to a restaurant I had casually mentioned months ago while still with my ex. I didn't think he'd remember. He did. He listened. He cared. And that was new. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just consistent. Then one night, there was a knock. Hard. Aggressive. It was her. At my door. Ethan opened it before I could even move. He told her to leave. She tried to force her way in. Ethan blocked the doorway. Didn't touch her. Just stood there. Calm. Protective. When she left, my hands were shaking. Ethan held me until they stopped. That's when I knew this wasn't a rebound. This wasn't revenge. This was safety. 3 days later, her own mother told me she uninvited her from a family party, not to punish her, but to protect me. The family started shifting. They weren't choosing sides. They were choosing truth. And suddenly, I wasn't the one losing a life. I was gaining one. Something weird happens when you finally leave someone who never valued you. The world gets Quieter, clearer, safer. I started sleeping better in that small studio apartment. Not because the place was better, but because my mind finally stopped screaming. Ethan became a constant. Not in a loud way, not in an overwhelming way. Just solid, like gravity. Like something you don't think about but feel when it's gone. He started keeping a spare hoodie at my place. A toothbrush, small things, never assumed. Always asked, "Is this okay?" I wasn't used to someone respecting space like that. Her messages kept coming for a while, from random numbers. Fake accounts, emotional emails. I didn't reply to any of them. I didn't need closure from her. I had already heard the real truth. Then came the night she showed up at my door. Ethan had just gotten home. He sensed it before I even spoke. He looked through the peephole and froze. "She's here." He said. I didn't even move. I felt small again. Like I was about to be dragged back mentally. The knock was hard, angry, desperate. Ethan opened the door and stood in front of it like a wall, not violent, not loud. Just present. She demanded to see me. Ethan said no. She tried stepping forward. Ethan didn't move. His voice was calm but firm. "You're not welcome here." She tried guilt, tears, anger. She tried pushing the door. Ethan didn't touch her. He just didn't move. That was enough. After she left, he locked the door and added the chain like he was protecting something fragile. Me. I hated feeling like something that needed protection, but I needed it, and I'll never forget how he hugged me after. Not tight. Not forced. Just steady. That was the first time I realized something was growing between us that wasn't rushed or messy. It was real, rooted. Then came the family shifts. Her mother started calling me more. Not to manipulate. To check on me. She admitted she'd raised her wrong, that she'd protected bad behavior for too long. She said something that stayed with me. "You weren't just her partner. You were part of this family." That didn't disappear. I wasn't losing a family. I was changing my position in it. Her sister, the one who hated me, asked me for coffee. At first, I thought it was a trap. It wasn't. She apologized, fully, honestly. She said she had been jealous, said she was wrong, said she wanted to start over. We did. I learned how badly her cousin had treated women in the past. I wasn't special. I was just the latest nice thing she didn't know how to keep. One afternoon, Ethan came over unusually serious. He sat next to me and told me he'd been offered a promotion. Overseas. Permanent. 3 years minimum. My chest dropped. Then he said he turned it down. I laughed at first. Thought he was joking. He wasn't. He said, "I found something that matters more." That sentence scared me and healed me at the same time. Someone choosing me without hesitation. After 5 years of begging for crumbs, I didn't know how to process. We had our first real future talk that night. Timelines. Kids. Marriage. Actual plans. Not someday. Specific. Grounded. Real. Meanwhile, she was losing control of the narrative. She started telling people I cheated, that Ethan stole me, that she was betrayed. People started questioning her story. Todd, her friend, reached out to me. He apologized, told me he'd corrected people, told me he felt sick for laughing that day. That mattered. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't dramatic. I wasn't bitter. I had been used, and people were starting to see it. Ethan and I took a small weekend trip. Beach town. Quiet. Easy. No pressure. No arguments. No power struggles. Just partnership. He told me he was falling in love with me. Not loudly. Not theatrically. Just honestly. And for the first time in my life, when I said, "I love you," I didn't feel like I was trying to earn something back. Then came the email. Her. 3 long paragraphs accusing me of using her, manipulating her, blaming me for the relationship failing. She CC'd her own mother. That part was intentional. I didn't reply to her. I forwarded it to her mom. Her mom called me crying. She said she'd handle it. She said she was done enabling her daughter. We had lunch. She told me she saw me as a son, said she wanted me to stay. And in that moment, I realized something. I didn't steal Ethan. I grew. I didn't betray anyone. I chose myself. And that was the beginning of something real. Life didn't turn magical overnight. It turned real. And real felt better than fantasy ever did. Ethan and I started talking about moving in together, but not like a rushed emotional decision. We talked about safety, boundaries, money, healing. He pulled up an actual spreadsheet one night showing what fair split of rent looked like based on our incomes. I remember staring at his phone thinking, this is what a partner looks like. Not someone doing favors. Not someone keeping score. Someone actually treating life like a shared responsibility. We toured apartments together. I hated the first one. The second one felt like a shoebox. The third one had light, big windows, secure building, camera in the lobby. A doorman. I felt safe standing there. Ethan said, this feels like starting over the right way. We applied the same night. 3 days later, approved. When I told him, he called me immediately and said he'd already started packing. That's when I started to understand something about him. He didn't hesitate when he was sure. She tried to come back into my world through noise. Indirect noise, social media posts about betrayal, about fake people, about loyalty, about snakes. I didn't look. Friends showed me screenshots. I shrugged. I wasn't angry anymore. I was finally steady. 2 days before moving day, Ryan showed up at Ethan's door. I was in the bedroom. I heard the knock. Not a polite knock, a demanding one. Ethan's entire body changed when he looked through the peephole. It's her, he said. I didn't move. I listened. Her voice was loud, demanding answers, demanding explanations, acting like I was stolen from her. Ethan didn't raise his voice. He didn't insult her. He told her calmly that I didn't want contact. She tried stepping forward. Ethan leaned slightly to block the doorframe. No violence, just presence. She put her hand on the frame. Tried to push. Ethan didn't budge. He said if she didn't leave, he'd call the police. She shouted. Called him a traitor, called me a liar, called the whole family fake. Then she left. Ethan locked the door, added the chain. Turned around, and I saw sadness in his eyes. Not fear, not anger. Sadness? That's when I realized this wasn't just costing me peace. It was costing him family. And he never once complained. Moving day came. His brother Eric showed up with a truck. His parents came to help. Her mom helped carry boxes into the new place. She brought a housewarming gift. Kitchen towels. A card that said she was proud of us. I felt something shift inside me. I wasn't running from a broken relationship. I was stepping into a real family. We started building a home. Not a place, a home? Arguing about couch placement. Laughing about mismatched plates. Eating pizza on the floor with boxes everywhere. It felt easy. It felt calm. It felt right. 4 months later, we hosted a small dinner party. My friends, his family. Cheryl showed up with a boyfriend and actually looked happy. She told everyone that watching us made her raise her standards. I saw something wild that night. Healing spreads. People get braver when they see someone else choose peace. Then came Thanksgiving. I was terrified. I knew she'd be there. Her car was in the driveway. My hands were shaking when we walked in. Ethan squeezed my hand. His brother promised to distract her if needed. She barely looked at me. Eventually, she went quiet. Her mom whispered that she'd started therapy. Working through stuff, that helped. Later that night, she asked to talk. My chest tightened. We went outside. Cold air, silence. She apologized. Actually apologized. She admitted she took me for granted. She admitted she wasted years. She admitted she was obsessed with the past and blind to the present. She didn't ask for me back. She just asked for forgiveness someday. I told her I accepted the apology. But I set boundaries. She agreed. It wasn't magical. It was adult. That was new too. Months passed. Family events got easier. Less tension, less performing, more normal. Then Ethan started acting strange. Taking calls privately. Closing tabs. Being secretive. My brain tried to panic. Tried to compare. Tried to assume I didn't snoop. I trusted him. That was hard. But I did it. Then one night he said to dress nice. He was nervous. We went back to the restaurant where we had our first real date. He barely touched his food. He kept staring at me. He disappeared for a bit. Then he came back and got on one knee. I've never felt time slow down like that moment. The box opened, the ring, his hands shaking, his voice cracking. He said I deserved to be chosen, not waited on. Not benched, chosen. I said yes before he finished. The restaurant clapped. Strangers cried. I cried harder. He told me later he'd been planning it for weeks. He asked my parents, asked his parents. Even asked her mother to make sure timing felt right. That care, that thought, destroyed me in the best way. The next morning she texted, "Congratulations, I hope you're happy. No anger, no venom, just acceptance." And somehow that felt like peace. The strangest part about happiness is how quiet it is. No chaos, no anxiety, no walking on emotional landmines, just peace. The morning after the proposal, I woke up before Ethan. My hand was lying on his chest and the ring caught the morning light. I stared at it for a long time, not because of the diamond, but because of what it meant. Someone chose me. Not because I was convenient, not because I was fun, not because I was there, because they were sure. He woke up slowly and smiled. When he saw me staring, "Still real?" he asked. I laughed and held up my hand. "Still real." We started making calls. His parents cried. My parents acted like they'd known before I did. His mom laughed and said she'd been waiting for this call for weeks. When we called her mom, I felt my chest tighten. She congratulated. Usas then paused, said she'd have to tell her. I didn't want that to hang over us, but it did. The next morning, the text came. "Congratulations. Hope you're happy." I read it over and over. No bitterness, no attacks. Just truth. I felt lighter. A few days later, her mom called me. I thought things would get distant now that I was marrying her nephew instead of her daughter. She surprised me. She asked about planning. She asked about my stress levels. Then said quietly, "She's dating someone new." It seemed serious. I didn't realize how much guilt I was still carrying until that moment. That guilt fell apart. I wasn't stealing happiness. I wasn't hurting anyone. Everyone was moving forward. Wedding planning felt like something I never thought I'd experience, and this time it wasn't me pushing. It was us building. Ethan had opinions about venues, about music, about guest list. He cared. He sat with me while I scrolled through photos. Didn't get bored. Didn't change the topic. Didn't brush things off. We chose a small wedding, close people. No pressure, simple, real. Then something happened that I never expected. Her sister, the one who hated me, asked to be in the wedding. She wanted to stand beside me. I didn't hesitate. I said yes. And when she hugged me in that coffee shop, I felt something heal inside my chest. Her mom insisted on throwing a shower, not for show, for love. She said she'd pictured this for years and wasn't losing it. People from both sides of life showed up, friends, family, smiles that weren't forced. Her grandmother pulled me aside, told me she'd known. She said she watched how I treated people. She said she saw how I was with her. She said Ethan looked at me the way her husband looked at her. That sentence stayed with me. The wedding came. And it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't stressful. It felt like breathing. My mom cried. His mom cried. Even her mom cried. When we said vows, I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel doubt. I felt home. She showed up. With someone new. She didn't make a scene. She didn't act out. She nodded, smiled, left early so we could enjoy the night. And that felt mature, peaceful. Our honeymoon wasn't flashy. 2 weeks in Hawaii, quiet mornings, slow nights. Talking about dreams, not fears. He told me he felt lucky. I told him I did too, and I meant it. When we came back, married life, didn't feel like a sudden shift. Because we'd already built something real, meals, chores, plans, it all felt shared. Then something beautiful happened. My best friend got engaged. She told me I inspired her to stop settling. That broke me in the best way. I wasn't just surviving a story, I was changing patterns. Then her mom called, family dinner. Announcement, she got engaged. I felt relief. Not because I cared, but because balance was restored. She approached me later. We talked like normal people. No anger, no pain. Just past and present in the same room without war. That felt like closure. On our first anniversary, Ethan took me back to the coffee shop. Same seat, same drinks. He said he knew. That day, before I was even free, I told him I was grateful. Not for the pain, but for the truth. Because if I hadn't overheard that conversation, I might have stayed small, settled, shrunk. Instead, I walked away and found someone who never needed to be convinced. That's how it finally ended, not with revenge. Not with drama, but with peace. And love that didn't need noise to feel real.